Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks exciting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. Oh, and just one more thing before we go. Please consider like, commenting, and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But now with all that out of the way, let's carry on with the video. Okay, so with Naergoth here, I've just given him a quick zenithal highlight prime job here, so we can start painting him and really see those shadows nice and quickly. And starting off, we're going to go with a mixture of grey, blue, and highlight skin here. It's 2 drops grey, blue to 1 drop highlight skin, just to lighten it up just a little bit and give it that more undead look, since he is an undead warrior. And it's going to really help us out, giving that sort of dead necrotic sort of blue tone skin look that he's known for, because I'm trying to copy the official artwork as much as I can here for this miniature. And of course it's just a matter of going over all the areas where we can see any flesh showing. Then once we have his skin painted up, what we're going to be doing now is coming in with a mixture of deep blue and black grey. And for this part here, all I'm going to be doing is focusing just on the hair. So it's sort of 1 drop of our blue to 2 drops of our black grey that we've got here, just to add in that little bit of bluish colour, because like I said, I'm trying to follow the official artwork as much as I can here. It's sort of like a blue streak through his hair, so the best way to do that is just to add in just a small drop of blue and give that hint of the colour into the piece, and then it's just a matter of painting up the hair. Then now we have that hair completed, we're going to come in now with some basalt grey, and we're going to be using this for the under clothing that he's wearing just underneath his armor. So he's got some sort of little straps, and basically his pants and his shirt that he's wearing underneath all that armor. It's just sort of in the little small gap areas. It's going to be a little bit hard to see on the camera, but you can see they're just underneath the armor, and you'll see the plates nicely going over top, and that's where we want to be placing this color. Then once we have his underclothes complete, we're going to come in now with some black grey and some alien purple, and I'm just adding 1 drop of the black grey to our alien purple so we can darken it down, because we want to do the shadow layer of our paint job first. So this is just a matter of going over the entire miniature in this nice dark colour and really making sure we get it everywhere. It's a lot of waves and folds and cracks and crevices, so spend a little bit of time here in painting this up, because it is all over the place and it's big, nice and flowing, so it's going to take a little bit of time. And he does have 2 strands of that cloak just coming down his front as well, so don't forget to do those 2 while you're at it. Then once we've done that, it's just a matter of coming in with some rhinox hide here, and I'm just going to do this for 1 little piece of the miniature, and that's just for the handle of his blade he's holding. So just here, it's just the 1 spot we're going to be doing it, just a nice quick base coat on there, nothing too fancy to worry about here. Then once we've painted up his handle, what we're going to be doing now is going to come in with some retributor armour. And retributor armour is nice bright gold colour, and we just want to be doing it for the hilt of his sword here, as you can see. Nice and fancy design, just being very careful not to get it anywhere we don't want it to now, especially since it actually touches the part of his hair, so we want to be very careful when doing this. So that's why I've switched to a nice fine tip brush. Then once we have that complete, we're going to come in now with some gunmetal. And this is basically going to be all of his armor. So anywhere we can see his armor, and of course the blade of his sword as well. Don't forget to do that. And gunmetal, it's a nice deep sort of very dark metal type color, especially out of what I've got just on hand anyway. So we want to have that nice dark metal color to have as our base coat. So it's just a matter of going everywhere. Now remember, just like I said with the cloak that he's wearing, there's a lot of nooks and crannies in areas here, since he has such an intricately designed armor. So don't forget to really spend a little bit of time and make sure you get in between all those plates and everything. Then once we have all his armor picked out, we're going to come in now with some ivory. And all we're going to be doing with this is we're just going to be picking out his teeth that he's showing. So you can see I've got my brush to as fine a tip as I can get it, and I'm just dragging it along. Camera's a little out of focus while doing this because I'm concentrating so hard. You'll be able to see it here in a second, but it's just a matter of brushing over top, as if like brushing teeth, with the white just slightly placed on here so it can really get onto that area and it just catches the edge of the teeth. And then once we have those teeth picked out, we're going to come back in with some alien purple now, since that's all nice and dried and complete. we're going to just be using it for the highlight areas. So anywhere that's raised, and this has a lot of folds and creases here, so we want to be hitting those edges and high points of the folds. And remember, there's no darker color added to this, it's just our straight alien purple. So it's just a matter of focusing in on those areas where we want to have it. So being reasonably selective here. And then once we have those highlights complete, what I'm going to be doing now is just adding a little bit of ivory to that alien purple. And I'm just going to be doing the highlights again, but this time in the more extreme area. So the most highest points, the absolute very edges, and just places like that. It's a little bit hard to describe. It's a little bit easier, as you can see here, me showing you where it is, especially on this model, since there's so many curves and waves and stuff into his miniature. So as you can see, I'm just picking out the highlights, and I'm just more using the edge of my brush to catch those areas rather than the actual flat of my brush. It makes it a little bit easier to catch the highest points. Then once we have that complete, what we're going to be doing now is coming in with some grey blue and our highlight skin again. This time I'm just adding that 1 drop extra of our highlight skin to just make it a little bit highlighter color, so we can really have those highlights stand out that little bit more. It's going to make him look a little bit more white. But that's no worry, since he is an undead. We don't have to worry so much about him being realistic sort of human in color and appearance. We want him to be a little bit more extreme on the colors. And then once we have that complete, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be coming in with some Drakenhof Nightshade, which is a blue wash. And I'm going to be using this to apply over the skin of Naergoth here. And of course, since it's a blue wash, it's going to help bring out the blue tones, especially in the blue that we've already applied to his flesh here. And it's going to really help liven him up and really get into those recesses and shadows and bring that to a more unnatural skin appearance rather than having it very flesh-like. And then once that is dry, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be coming in with some nuln oil, and we're going to be applying this to our middle areas, of course. So we want to be applying it to our sword and, of course, his armor, just really making sure that we get it everywhere and being very, very careful, especially with this armor, to not have it pull in places where we don't want it to. Since the armor is so intricate and has a lot of points and different plates meeting each other, it can sort of pull up very, very easily. So just keep an eye on it as it's drying to help solve some of that problems and having the big ponds that form when you leave washes in places where you don't want it to. And then once that wash on the armor is complete, we're going to come in now with some druchii violet. And this is a nice purple wash. And what we're going to be doing is, of course, we're going to be applying it to the area that we want purple to really help bring the purple richness in there. And what it's going to do is, since we've applied it last rather than after we usually do of placing in the highlights last, it's going to help try and tie them together. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to tie everything together and try to give it a bit more of a smooth transition into one another, because usually my highlights are pretty stark and you can definitely see them. So I just wanted to give another version of painting a try. So this is trying to go for a more sort of natural blend look rather than being highlights on top as the last layer. And then while that's drying, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be coming back in with gunmetal. And what we're going to be doing is, of course, we want to be hitting those edges and the highest points of our miniature to be making it sure that we've got our highlights here. Like I said, we want to have smoother blends and stuff. I'm focusing more there on the skin and the cloth, but with the armor I still want it to have that nice highlighting look, like the sun's really glinting off this armor. So that's why I'm placing the highlights last on any of our metallics here. And now with those highlights done, I'm going to come in now with some shining silver, and we're going to be just applying it to the absolute sharpest edges here for that as well. So you can see here at the very top of the blade, really trying to focus in and get that sharp point. And of course onto the very highest points of the armor, sort of just the absolute tips. And you can see I'm just, again, going over with the edge of my brush rather than the whole part of the brush, really catching all of those edges to make it really stand out and shine. I'm just trying to go with a few different ways here of highlighting, going with 2 different bits of silver, seeing if I can get a slightly better highlight than I usually have with my ordinary style of just painting in one highlight, just trying to see if it brings it out that little bit more. And then now with that armor picked out, it's time to move on to one of those parts that we all hate doing, and that of course is edges of things and little bits of extra detail. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add in this yellow strip along each end of the bits of flowing cloth from the front of his cloak here. As you can see, it's a nice bit of detail he has on his actual official artwork, so I'm trying to replicate that here. It's going to take a little bit of time, just going over nice and slowly to try and get it where I want it. And then going from one hard part to another hard part, we're coming in with yellow now, and we need to be painting in those eyes. I want to give him some nice glowing yellow eyes, and of course they're always notoriously difficult, so just very quickly and carefully grabbing a little bit of paint on the very tip of my brush, keeping it as sharp as I can, and then just dragging it across the eye, waiting for it to pick out the detail. And then once we have that picked out, we're going to time to move on to the base. So I'm going to come in with some orange brown here, and I'm just going to be placing it onto the base. Now he does have an actual base that he comes with, which is this one here, which is already completely textured in a nice cobblestone style. But I don't want to be doing it as just ordinary plain stone. I feel like that would very much match into all the colors he already has. So I'm going with a different color here, and I'm going to be going in with this orange brown and making it look a lot more like a sort of more desert environment, or even just a dirty pathway, just something to bring it out a little bit. And as you can see, I'm highlighting it up, just using some khaki here to help highlight it up into the next step, really making it go for more of a natural sort of earthy look rather than it being complete and machined sort of style cobblestone. We're going for a more exotic stone here, making it look a little bit more flashy, and going here with our deck tan to just highlight it to its absolute highest point here. This is going to be the last highlight we apply to the base, and since it's a little bit white in the deck tan's color, it's going to help just give those high points a really nice highlight. And then with that highlight complete, we're going to come in with Agrax Earthshade now and bring all those highlights back down and make it look a little bit more like a natural earth stone texture, and hopefully try and make it stand out a little bit more and make Naergoth himself stand out just a little bit better on the piece. And then once you've done that, just time for a nice black ring around that base to finish it off. And with all that complete, we have finally finished painting up Naergoth Bladelord from the Dungeons & Dragons line by Gale Force 9. So you can see it was a nice and detailed sculpt, and I hope we really did it justice by trying to copy the official artwork as much as we can. So I hope it turned out well, and I hope this video has been helpful for you guys as well, whether you want to follow along or just enjoy me painting up some cool miniatures. And with all that said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.